Our Army is currently looking at delay, defeat and destroy, and we think Brimstone offers a capacity to attack each of those different tactics, being able to act as both a scalpel and a sledgehammer. So if you wanted to strike one target, Brimstone can do that through using a SAL or point RF mode, and if you wanted to defeat an entire formation of tanks, you could fire volleys of Brimstone and be able to strike them all at the same time, utilising the element of surprise.
They're very quick for off-road as well. They absorb the bumps really well, and they're very quick, very nimble, and can escape the enemy quite easily.
The product the Ukrainians like the best of all of the Saab products that we've sent to Ukraine, it's the net, because the net keeps them alive.
Well, here we are at a Supercat Capability Day in Aldershot, and you can see behind us this amazing HMT. This is a Mark III HMT 6x6 vehicle, and on top you'll see we have a mounted turret designed by Moog, and I'm delighted to be joined by Richard Allen Miles from Moog. Hi Richard, thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Can you explain a bit about your turret and its various capabilities?
I can. The RIP turret, which stands for Reconfigurable Integrated Weapons Platform, is a unique system which we developed some years ago for the US Army, and it offers the user the ability to grow and develop and modify the weapons system according to prevailing threat or operational need. So what we've done for the British Army is to take that design, which will be fully built here with the British supply chain, and offer it to the Army for their SHORAD, counter-UAS or CSAT, and mounted force overwatch requirements. So the configuration you see here, you have an air defense capability one side with the Thales HVM LMM Starstreak missile. We have a 30x113 cannon, which could be used in a counter-UAS role. And closest to us, we have the MBDA Brimstone missile, of course, an anti-armor capability. So what we have actually in this configuration is a multi-mission capability, but of course the turret could be used in a single mission capability with either of those effectors.
And how much flexibility have you got in terms of the configuration?
Complete. I mean, fundamentally, the RIP system is agnostic of sensors or effectors. So if you looked, for instance, at the systems that are deployed by the US Army in both SHORAD and counter-UAS variants, they've chosen completely different weapons, the ones you see here, but the turret is the same. So there's a strong commonality argument there as well.
You mentioned the US. I mean, this is being used by the US already.
It is, yeah. It's TRL-9. It's a mature, proven solution. It's in service today in both SHORAD and counter-UAS roles.
Wow. And I mean, in terms of operations, how could you see your turret actually being used?
We see it offering a game-changing capability. From an operational point of view, that commonality piece starts to deliver real value in the areas of support, logistics, training burden, and so on. But we also see that the RIP turret offers the Army the capability to have a weapon system which stays current throughout the service life of a vehicle. Because of course, as threats change, which we're seeing is very much the case at the moment, the ability to flex and to change what you have fitted to your weapon system to respond to that threat landscape is vital.
So that versatility really is the key going forward.
Absolutely.
Hey, Sealog. Yes, sir. What? Kilmer, tell him to come over here. What? This one. What's the fact that we have so many extra? We're having you guys like wait.
And Richard, we can see the Union Jack on the side of the turret, and I think a key point to stress is that you rely very heavily on a British supply chain.
We do, yeah. We're in the process of setting that up right now. Our plan is to use one of Moog's existing facilities. We've been here since the 1960s, supporting British military programs in air, land and sea domains. we're going to use one of those facilities and set our RIP production plant up in there with 100% UK supply chain. One of the other things that we're really deriving some value from is collaboration with British defence industry partners like MBDA, like Thales, you see on the system here. Again, designed to deliver the British Army a compelling and future-proof capability.
And can you just tell us a bit more about the weapons you've actually fitted on it in this configuration?
Sure, yeah, on the far side you have the Thales Starstreak HVM LMM missile, which is a very potent air defence missile. Currently in service, of course, on Stormer, and there's a program coming through the Army now which is designed to deliver the next generation mounted SHORAD capability for the Army. So that's what's on the far side. Also mounted to the turret is a 30x113 cannon. We've had fantastic results with that, firing the Northrop Grumman proximity airburst ammunition, which has been proven to be hugely effective against Class 1 to 3 UAVs. We also have a close self-protection weapon, 7.62 machine gun built onto the turret there, and closest to us here we have the MBDA Brimstone missile, which of course is well known to the British Army in an anti-armour role beyond line of sight.
Okay, now we've spoken about the turret system on this HMT. Let's find out a bit more about one of the weapons that's mounted to it. It's the Brimstone, which is made by MBDA. I'm delighted to say that Paul is here with us from MBDA. Paul, tell us a bit more about the Brimstone.
Absolutely, James. So Brimstone is a non-line of sight anti-armour weapon system. It's predominantly been designed for the air, but through commonality, modularity and reuse, we're trying to re-roll it and bring it into the land domain to offer lethality for the British Army. We've been working with Moog to integrate it onto this turret, offering them 360-degree engagement angles, and also offering them that extra layer of lethality by being able to do non-line of sight attacks against main battle tanks.
So operationally, what kind of situations would this be used in?
You see Brimstone as a sort of a quarterback, being able to be sat back from the main fight where a forward observer could see a formation of main battle tanks. Brimstone could be slewed on, fired non-line of sight up to about 10 kilometres, making sure that this system is survivable, being away from the main area of contact, and then being able to defeat tanks from the safety of being in the rear.
And that range of up to 10 kilometres, how does that compare to other similar systems?
We think it's really pushing the envelope of what we can do for a missile of this calibre. Brimstone defeats all known DAS systems at the moment. It's basically a fly and glide weapon system. It doesn't have a large signature once it's been launched, and it hugs the terrain as it flies in, so the tanks don't know it's coming. So it's a really, really market-leading weapon system, which is why we think it's perfect for the Army and what they're trying to achieve.
And when you say that you focus particularly on lethality, I mean, how do you achieve that? When you're designing a new missile system, how do you focus on that and how do you achieve it?
The first thing we want to do is try to understand the threat, and then we want to understand how the customer wants to fight it. How do we want to defeat that threat? The Army is currently looking at delay, defeat and destroy, and we think Brimstone offers a capacity to attack each of those different tactics, being able to act as both a scalpel and a sledgehammer. So if you wanted to strike one target, Brimstone can do that through using a SAL or point RF mode, and if you wanted to defeat an entire formation of tanks, you could fire volleys of Brimstone and be able to strike them all at the same time, utilising the element of surprise. With MBDA as the complex weapons preferred supplier for the UK, we are leveraging the PMA2, which is the Portfolio Management Agreement 2, to able us to lean in to experiments and concept development like this to make sure that the Army feels that they are supported by industry in the UK to get their concepts and capabilities delivered at a time and at a cost that they're choosing.
Well, this is very exciting. We're here in Aldershot today, sunny Aldershot, and behind us you may see we have an HMT 6x6 Supercat vehicle. This is essentially what a lot of people would know as a Jackal, is that right, Phil?
Yeah, it's Jackal Coyote, but it's all being built on a Jackal 3 extended chassis. So the running chassis stays the same. All it is different is the open architecture cab comes off and a closed armoured cab goes on the top.
So tell us everything we need to know. For those who aren't that familiar with it, about this amazing vehicle, how might it be used operation?
So operationally, it was predominantly brought into the British forces as a sort of long-range desert patrol open architecture, using all your senses, and then the British Army in Afghanistan on road for basically a free patrol route. And the difference is this one, it goes anywhere you want it to go, and you're not channeled into sort of vulnerable points where you might get attacked with the dry explosives.
And you can modify this, I mean, very extensive.
Yeah, so it's truly modular by design. So basically everything from the cab backwards is lifted off with a few bolts, a few flips, and then you can put another mission system on there. So this one, the Moog RIP turret on there with 3D CSAT, SHORAD, and a lab thing, which would really step this. We can easily lift that off. You put an ambulance module on there, or a recovery module, or a logistic module. So it doesn't have to be this one. Today it could be, reversing back to a Coyote fighting plane.
So Phil, tell us how this fits in with the land industrial track.
So currently this vehicle is not the closed cab, but the open cab Jackal 3 extender is on a hot production line in Devonport. There's another Freeport area in collaboration with our partners, Fast and Land. Importance to this area, it provides that defence industrial strategic base. Keeping a pulse line going down there over a number of years at a lower reduced number is certainly going to help the land industrial strategy. The other good thing about this is over 95% of this parts for this vehicle are actually based in the UK. And over 85% of those are actually from the southwest. So again, leveling up the map goes up.
Okay, in the back.
All good.
Hold on. The fast road part of the track. We can pretty much launch it around these parts of the track as much as you dare drive, to be fair. They will hang on to the track really well. Very manoeuvrable, very easy to correct if anything goes wrong, and just great fun. This is why we love our job. Now the next part we'll be going on to the bit slower, which is a bit more technical. Big holes full of water, so we might have to hence having all the waterproof gear on. But yeah, sit back and enjoy the ride. It probably seems a lot faster than it actually is, but on the faster part of the track that we've done previous to this one, we reached speeds of probably good 50 miles an hour, no doubt. This part of the track, obviously with the big holes, maximum we can get to like 25, 30 between the holes. I could go a little bit quicker, but it's not very comfortable for everybody on board. But well, I actually drove this one up to Aldershot yesterday morning from Devon. I'm quite capable of keeping up the traffic on the roads. So yeah, I'm sort of like 65, 70 quite happily. But even on the fast stuff, this sort of stuff, you can manage to go a lot quicker than you would with A lot of vehicles, due to the suspension setup, it's full air suspension, double wishbone, so it absorbs the bumps really, really well. We've made quite a few changes recently to suspension, but everything, pretty much all the setups the same. It's just heavier duty on the Jackal 3 from the Jackal 2, only really because the military wanted to carry more payload, so we have to beef up the suspension and make it more capable of carrying everything. But yeah, speed-wise, they'll keep up with, road-wise, they keep up with anything on the road. And yeah, this is why the military love them. It's because they're very quick for off-road as well. They absorb the bumps really well, and they're very quick, very nimble, and can escape the enemy quite easily.
Right, Matt, we've just had an incredible test drive, I suppose, around this facility here in this remarkable vehicle. Tell us about the vehicle.
So yeah, this is a Supercat HMT. This particular version is 4x4, but we build 6x6 vehicles as well. So for the UK, the 4x4 variant is Jackal, Jackal 2, and we're just in the process of delivering new Jackal 3 vehicles. 6x6 variant is known as Coyote, and then we are currently, or about to start production of another batch of the Jackal 3 vehicle with our extender module on it, which will turn them into 6x6 vehicles, and that's going to be known as a Jackal 3E.
And so this particular one, is this a Jackal 2?
This is an older variant, so this is sort of Jackal time. Jackal 2 has ballistic armour down the side, so does Jackal 3, although it's improved on Jackal 3.
And I suppose the thing with the Jackals is they are among the most versatile military vehicles you can imagine.
Yep, we've got a modular design approach. I've already just spoken to you about the extender module, which can take the vehicle from 4x4 to 6x6. The newer vehicles have a much stronger chassis than the older ones, and we have interface points specifically designed in to allow us to add different mission modules, different equipment, things like remote weapon stations, cranes, anything you like, really.
So give us a sense, Matt, of how they would be used operationally. I'm guessing because they're so versatile, they'll be used for a variety of different things.
Yep. Yeah, like vehicles, highly mobile. We can tow with them. Like I say, we've got the new vehicles. We can go up to 9 tons on the gross vehicle mass, which gives us a payload of around 2.5 tons. So capable of carrying an awful lot of equipment. Yeah, so fairly versatile.
And how excited are you for the Jackal 3?
Yeah, very excited. Been heavily involved in the design process, so it's nice to see it all come into fruition. Vehicles starting to be delivered and being put into use.
Well, thank you so much for letting us see them up close.
No problem.
My name is James Scott. I work for Saab Barracuda, and we supply survivability products that provide camouflage for platforms, for individual soldiers and weapon systems. This is really important on modern battlefields, because it's a sensor-rich environment that not only works in the optical, but also works in the infrared, works in the radar, and if you don't hide, you end up with what's called the transported battlefield, and you'll be identified very quickly and targeted as a result. So what the products do is they deal with your unwanted heat emissions and radar reflections so that you're a lot less detectable. For a mobile camouflage system, when you're on the move for a vehicle, or when you're static, the provision of net that absorbs a lot of that energy, but also deals with more active detection systems such as space-based radars, which will otherwise lead you to be detected and identified pretty quickly.
So this is really very advanced sort of think about it. If you can understand the need for camouflage, as you say, when it was given looking at things with a naked eye, but it's for infrared, for example. Talk me through how it actually...
So this is the highest of technology. So Saab Barracuda has been around since 1957. And it's an arms race between sensors and countermeasures. This is clearly a countermeasure. And that picture's changing all the time. In fact, it's being hyper-accelerated by what's going on in Ukraine. And it needs a company with incredible depth of understanding to get the right balance. This is all about looking like an average piece of ground, not like an armored vehicle under a net. So you need to get the balance of absorption and reflection absolutely right. And that allows you to have effective camouflage. And as I said, it's multi-spectral and even hyperspectral now, where you're using specific band pictures to provide a composite image to detect if something is off in nowadays. And that's the sort of challenge of the future.
And this is so important, isn't it? Because everyone focuses on the leak. Oh, I mean, that's a sexy bit. Whenever you're talking about weapon systems or whatever, we've just been looking on some incredible missile systems. But actually, survivability is fundamental.
Yeah, this is the same coin. So on one side, there's lethality. On the other side of the coin, survivability is there. And it comes at a very reasonable cost. It's not very expensive to do this compared with the price of an armored vehicle or compared with the highly trained crew. That's priceless. You do not want to lose them. And it's just really important that you have this level of protection, because it allows you to operate at the tactical level and fight as you want to fight, but also the operation level. Maneuver warfare remains valid if you can remain undetected. If you can't, then concentrated force is really difficult in modern battlefield, because you'll pay a high price at that stage.
And there's being undetected when you're on the move, but there's also crucially being undetected when you're stationary. And you see you augmented this with a tent. Can you tell us a bit about those?
Well, the tent, it's an ultra lightweight camouflage screen. It has the same properties as the mobile system. So it has visual properties, helping you to blend into the surroundings. So it's better if you set it up next to terrain that helps. Even if you're in the open, it will be remarkably hidden at 50 to 100 meters. So it's already looking at longer distance. I was not looking or stood right next to it, because when you get this close, it becomes pretty obvious what you're getting close to. But there's a sort of misconception that you can always be mobile on the modern battlefield. Soldiers need to rest. Fuel is limited. If you're concentrating force, it can take time for those forces to concentrate. So actually, a lot of the modern battlefield, so I did 36 years service, is waiting. There's a lot of inactivity that happens, and you are going to be static, and you need to be protected when you're static. Otherwise, you can be detected, identified, targeted, defeated.
And you mentioned, James, the user. How did this camouflage system add to what was around at your time?
Well, what was around in my day is still around in many parts of the British Army, which is the Mark 7 camouflage net. And that is predominantly just a visual camouflage. It is not up to protecting against mob battlefield sensors. So when you've protected your platforms and when you've dealt with both shape and shadow by putting a net over the top, the next challenge is us, soldiers. We give off a lot of infrared radiation, and we also have, optical, you can be seen as well, but it's the infrared that's particularly challenging. So it'll be the crew moving around from out under the net that will lead the enemy to detect where that platform is. And you need to deal with that. But it's not just those people, it's also the people forward of Frontline of own troops. So you're going to have a recce screen, you're going to have mortar fire controllers, forward observation officers, and anti-tank screens. If those individuals don't have some thermal protection, armour that they're trying to defeat will detect them in the infrared, because we glow red hot. So we've got a soldier system product that you wear a little bit like a poncho that will deal with a lot of that infrared detectability, 60 to 70% of it, making those individuals a lot more survivable. The
great thing about this product is soldiers carry ponchos already. So we're not asking people to carry anything else. We're just asking them to carry something slightly different that has huge survivability advantages.
Can I try it on?
You can if you want.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
So it's designed for helmets.
Okay.
So the hood for you is going to be a bit bigger.
Okay.
So if you stick that there,
Uh-huh.
and effectively this then clips together down the front. And the good thing about this is that when you go static, you can clip a number of these together and get a degree of protection. And you can resize it at the bottom, but if you just hold up your hands at the front, it doesn't really interrupt you doing what you need to do as a soldier. You can hold a weapon.
Yes.
Most of your body heat is actually in your core, not in your legs. Tell you, I've had some very cold legs over the years. But it allows you to operate. Now it looks a little bit long, but you can clip it up at the back to prevent it becoming a trip hazard. So that will hide you as you do ingress, moving into whatever you're going to go and do, and egress, moving back out again. And it has been trialled by lots of interesting people really, and it's a product they really like.
Very nice.
So
I mean, let's face it, James, it's not a fashion product, but it's very effective.
Hey, it will keep you alive.
It will
and
keep you alive.
And that's what's important.
Which is the most important
Yeah.
thing. And this camouflage system, it's already being used, isn't it?
It is. A lot of the nets have gone out to Ukraine. There's a thing called technology readiness levels. The highest accolade you can have is use on operations and positive feedback. And the product the Ukrainians like the best of all of the Saab products that we've sent to Ukraine, it's the net, because the net keeps them alive.
Well, James, thank you so much.
Oh, a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Just remember to leave that behind.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Frontline. For early access to our videos, member-only Q&As and live streams, then sign up for a membership via the link in the description. And for the latest news and breaking stories, listen to Times Radio and follow us at thetimes.com.